the game development. I'm pleased to say we're sharing assets with Chrome, and I think Tantalus are doing one of the platforms. So we're sharing assets. We've had people come to Animalogic, sit with our art directors right from the get-go, and so we are doing that, but we're doing it with a weeby view of what the total potential of the games are, as opposed to our view and Zach's view. But hopefully on the next project we get up, we will be able to do that more. And we're writing into our deals with the studios that we want to produce the games, not just the movies. We want the right to be the producer on the games. In film speak, the producer meaning having creative and financial control, and doing that. So Guardians of Gabul, very briefly, as I said, it was something that we speculatively developed, and it gained its own sort of momentum over the course of the year. After Happy Feet, by Christmas of '07, we were greenlit on a very, very big picture, which is a 12-month period. I prefer if you didn't do that. I've never shown this material to anyone else outside of Animalogic. Okay, good. To anyone outside of Animalogic, I'm just a little bit precious about it because, you know, you kind of do it and ask for forgiveness later, but I shouldn't be doing this. You know, for a film property, a really big film property to get up over the course of a year, it's very, very unusual in Hollywood. For this to, you know, something as risky as this is even more unusual. So we're really proud of what we achieved. It's unusual because it's an animated feature. It's fully animated. It's going to be visually far more complex than Happy Feet.
Yeah,
because we're going to need to contribute more carbon to the ozone destruction. Though we're going to do that very efficiently because the new blades are much more efficient than the old ones, I'm told. So we need to develop a huge amount of technology. I'm told there are about 50 person years of research and development that are going into developing the tools just to do feather and foliage for the game. That's how many, we've got like 25 people working just writing code to write the tools to be able to produce its birds and forests and other creatures in the movie. But more importantly, it's unusual because it's an action, fantasy, adventure movie. It's not a typical animation genre. It's Lord of the Rings meets Harry Potter. It's much more that kind of fantasy genre than it is a Happy Feet or a Shrek or even Pixar movies. With Zack Snyder directing, you can imagine that it's going to be different because he's not really a Pixar director. However, Zach's view is that he's now made like two really successful films that none of his 6 kids can see because they're all too young. So he wants to make one that they can see at his house as opposed to sneak a look at their friends. So he wants to make it a film that's accessible to kids, but we want to make this film a film that actually breaks into teen audiences as well. And I know from my kids when they turned 11 or 12, it was like, don't think I'm going to be caught dead in an animated movie with you, Dad. It's just like, forget it. Hopefully this is going to be cool, and with Zach directing and his vision, what we'll bring technically and visually, that it will actually attract much broader audiences. The other thing that's cool about it, it's a bit like Lord of the Rings, is we're using, well, I'll tell you the story and the characters and you'll understand why this makes sense. It's a world which is populated mainly by owls and some other creatures. Owls are our humanity, they're our people. There is no humanity, there's no reference to people, there's no human artifacts, so the owls are the people and that's all there is. Architecture is created by owls. Technology is pretty primitive, but it's the kind of technology you can imagine talking owls being able to create. And it's really a coming-of-age story, and it's a hero's journey, as well as having really cool action. What's interesting about a movie with owls is that a lot of it's in the air. This movie has big battle scenes, but they're not on the ground, and that's a new challenge as well. We're making the movie in 3D stereo, so that's another first for Australia and for us. We are going to make the 2D and 3D version concurrently and not make it as an after effect. And so, as an afterthought. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So in this world of ours, there are 2 brothers who are born. They're born into the same family. One is a good seed, one is a bad seed. The bad seed brother, oh sorry, there's 2 kingdoms of owls, good kingdom, bad kingdom. 2 brothers who are born into this world. One's got a little bit of a chip in his shoulder. He doesn't feel like he quite belongs in the family. And the story traces their journey. Of course, the good brother becomes the hero, the bad brother becomes relatively evil, and great battles ensue, and in fantastic landscapes and great aerial photography, and high-level visual complexity. But at the core of it, there's warmth, there's humour, there's accessibility for kids, but I think there's lots of stuff that hopefully will attract older audiences as well. So I'll just show you some quick stills from the movie.
How long did that take to build?
It took a year to kind of design some of the characters in the world to demonstrate what the movie could look like in pure design. But some of the design was very sort of photoreal kind of stuff. But the test took 4 months of intense work to produce. And once again, a lot of the technology that we already had made that possible. Though that's done with what we call temp technology, because it's not our final character, it's not our final feather and fur technology, and we're rewriting everything. But yeah, it was 4 months of intense effort. Yeah.
I guess you're in a very unique position, and it's excellent for us to all be here and listening to your point of view. I just want to hear, standing on the outside of the industry and hypothetically dipping your toes in the pool now, about to get into game development and the prospect that you're looking at, what are the things, I guess, that you, as a company moving forward and as one of the world's leading entertainment providers, what do you see as potential risks, benefits, and just instant hurdles that you can see? You talked about discrimination of the games industry in comparison to film, and now you're coming across, you're going to lose those certain benefits that you had before on new projects. How does that feel as a man heading up this company that is about to just jump into a whole new world?
There's a few complex questions in there. First of all, from an analogy strategy perspective, we're doing the opposite of what we've done in film. In film, we've worked our way up from a technical capability, from a fee-for-service vendor business, and we're not one of the world's leading entertainment providers. We aspire to be. We're just getting started. We're one of the world's, I hope, better known visual effects and animation companies, but we're moving into production and development, and there's a huge risk there, as I said. I don't know if you can ever take that risk because of what you can demonstrate on paper. I think you just got to be passionate about it and be driven and go, that's what I would do with my life, and I'm prepared to invest in it. And know that there's an upside, but there's also risk. And we're a collective of people, analogy, I think have that common perspective and that common goal. As far as how that translates in terms of our view of games, I see games as fraught with risk and danger as movies are. There's no guarantees. I think we're going to probably fail a few times in terms of developing IP before we actually go and commit to making a game. But I think that the important thing is that we don't go ahead and make a game that we don't believe in. If we develop an idea and it doesn't work, we've got to put it away and start developing another one, or keep developing it until we really believe that we've got something really valuable, worth putting our time and effort, raising money, and putting our brand to. I don't know how long that's going to take. I hope we'll be looking to launch a game into development by the middle of next year. But if we don't have the right game, we won't. If we find something earlier, then of course we'll accelerate that plan. As far as the tax breaks go, or the producer offsets that are in this country, we're not giving up on those. We're going to join your association. We're going to go hard at lobbying government and do the best that we can to get the same or similar levels of support for the game industry as the film industry gets. And it's not just to drive our agenda of being in the game business. I would be doing this today even if we weren't in the game business, because I think developing and retaining talent in this country is universal across the digital entertainment companies. And it's all about the talent. If there isn't support for generating constant workflows of the highest caliber, then we're not going to develop the level of talent we need. And if we don't have talent, we're going to be overtaken by people who are cheaper or bigger. India, China, the next place that has the next great tax break, Canada, Quebec, wherever it might be. So, but if we don't get that level of support for games, maybe the dollar is going to be low enough to make that work. But if we got a dollar on parity with the US dollar and we've got no producer offsets or tax breaks for the game industry, it's going to be a challenge to make a game here, as opposed to thinking about setting up development somewhere else or outsourcing somewhere else. But our commitment is to bring it all back home. But there's a lot of lobbying and a lot of work to do. I'm sure Tom can speak more about this and better about it than I can. But we want to sort of really push the agenda with all of you guys. Yep.